Okay, guys, we are live here at Mindari, off the coast of Western Australia. Welcome to CETO, Connecting Eyes to Oceans. We have our hosts here. We have Kurt, we have Arnika, we have our skipper Rob, we have Erica. Hello. Jasper about to jump in there. And we have Dave already in the water, so hopefully we're going to have our comms working. Sorry that we're a little bit late getting started. My name's Jason. We're going to move the hosts to the spot that they're going to sit with you. Of course, always have issues with tech. That's just the way that tech works.
Is this sealed?
Sealed, yeah, right to go. So we're going to be taking our camera underwater with the divers here. Dave is our lead cameraman. We had one problem with one cable that we needed to isolate there, which was a bit of a problem for us, but we're right now, so I'm going to take you inside. Actually, we're going to let you have a quick look at the boat here. There's the bridge up here, beautiful boat that we get to use here for Connecting Eyes to Oceans. We're a few kilometres offshore. There's a very bad bushfire here in Western Australia at the moment, so it's looking very gloomy out there. Our guys in the water now. We're going to pop in and see our guys. This area here, you can see what we see underwater. That goes straight to the stream in a minute. We have our guys right here ready to help you out. Great to have you all here, and thanks very much to Mammalz, Alex and the community for joining us here today. We're ready to introduce you to our hosts. And here we go. Alright, you should be live, guys.
Awesome.
Do you want to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about you? This is for the people who have just joined us from the Mammalz stream, and we'll get these comms tested for our divers.
Okay, awesome. Oh, hello to the people who have just joined in. My name's Kurt. I'm a marine ecologist. I work at Murdoch University. So I specialise in fish ecology. Whether it's in the marine side or it's also, I do a lot of work inside estuaries. But I've also been scuba diving and fishing since I've been a very young person. So yeah, seeing all these kind of fish and all that's been, I should be able to help out in IDing them and then telling you a little bit about the ecosystem as well.
Thanks, Kurt. Hello, I'm Arnika. I've got a background in diving and marine conservation work. So I've done a little bit of diving where we are here in Western Australia, but most of my experience is on the East Coast, the Great Barrier Reef, and a little bit of work in Madagascar as well on different marine conservation projects. So yeah, we're here to give you a bit of a guide as to what we're seeing underwater today, and yeah, thanks for coming along for the ride.
Awesome. So as you can see on how do we switch cameras to?
Yeah, okay.
To the underwater camera.
To go to the underwater camera, let's do that now.
Okay, let's go.
So we got the divers on the bottom, looking around.
All right, let's move us over. I forgot something. Here we go. We'll be, should be live, hopefully now. Alright, we're going to switch back to you guys for a tick. You keep talking.
So where we are at the moment is we're just off the coast off Perth. So we're in a subtropical region, which is kind of the intermediate between tropical, which is your Great Barrier Reef, over on the east coast, but over here we've got the Ningaloo Reef, and then we're near the temperate region, which we're in the in-between stage. We're probably closer to the temperate region here, where we are in Perth, so majority we're going to be seeing temperate fishes or temperate any type of fauna, and we might have the odd chance of seeing a tropical species. Generally you see that more in the summertime when the water's a bit warmer and they'll come down through the Lewin current. But this time of year the water has cooled off a little bit, so most of your tropical species head back up north, back to the warmer waters that they're used to. Although we did find out the water is reasonably quite warm at 21 degrees here, which generally on the temperate regions more sits around the 17, 18 degree range. So yeah, hopefully when the cameras get back up we'll be able to show you what's down there. We have had a cyclone come through more north from here in the last week or so. Seemed to have brought down a bit of swell and made the water a little bit murky. You can see when the divers go back under, it's a little bit turbid down there. Still have enough visibility, maybe between 5 to 10 meters visibility. So we should be able to see the things there, but usually the water can be a lot clearer down here, about to 20 meters visibility, which makes pretty awesome diving out this part of the coastline.
Yep, your diver's always chasing good visibility. But the good thing is when the visibility's low, you can get right up close and you often see more. And when it's a bit overcast like it is today, we tend to see a bit more fish. It's a bit more active under the water. I don't know why. Do you have an explanation for that, Kurt? Just from my personal experience diving, I've found that on overcast days, the underwater world is a bit more active. It seems like there's more going on.
Yeah. There. I wouldn't say it's explained scientifically, but I could have come up with a theory to why. So a lot of fish will be more active during the overcast days because the visibility is less, so overhead prey can't spot them as easy, so they're more likely to be roaming around foraging for food or whatever they're doing during the overcast days, when it's bright they would generally go and hide because they're obviously going to be easier spotted by predators. So most fish usually have like depending on where they sit in the water column, whether it's demersal or pelagic, they would usually be sort of some type of counter shading, which means they will generally be darker on top and then lighter under the bottom. So that way it works that if any predators swimming over the top and look down on them, the darker colours blend into the darker floor, where if they're looking up underneath them, the whiter colours sort of blend into the lighter surface, which is obviously the sky or the sun. Where on overcast days, the silhouettes or whatever of fish swimming around is less visible, so they will be more likely to roam around on that. So hopefully that helps with the explanation a little bit.
Great, thanks Kurt. Yes. Okay, well hopefully the fish are feeling safe and they'll be out and about for us today.
We're just about there, guys.
Shall we switch to the underwater cam?
Not quite. In a sec. I'm just going to make sure that is right. Alright, you've got your view there. Alright, should be right.
Awesome. Cool. So what we can see down there at the moment is a lot of kelp. So this is called Aclonia radiata, which is this is probably the most common algae in the area that we are in. So this has like a hold fast, which will hold onto a rock. So you will never get kelp living in sand. So they have to have their root system, you would call it, I guess. It's not technically a root system, but they would hold onto some type of substrate that doesn't move. So also with the kelp, that it does provide a huge habitat for a lot of fish that will hide in between it swimming around. So here goes our first fish. So this is a male western king wrasse. So these guys here, generally you'll get one or two of these, and there'll be a pack of females, which will be a lighter white color with a red stripe. So these guys have a dimorphism, so they'll start off, they'll be born a female and be living in a group, and then when the male dies or moves on, the fastest growing female will then turn into a male. So usually males are quite inquisitive and quite protective of their of the colony, but don't see the colony yet. But as you can see, this guy's swimming around checking Dave out.
There, we've got 3 divers in the water.
So if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. I'm not sure if we've had much chatter.
Yeah, there's been a few people just looking if there was any questions. So algae can be broadly grouped into three phylum of algae. So you got your Phaeophyceae, which is you would call like your brown algae, your I just had a mental blank, Rhodophyta, which is your red algae, which is the most common type of algae, and then the green algae, which I've completely just mind blanked on. Starts with C. And I've completely forgotten it.
And isn't it beautiful, just the hypnotic sway of the algae in the current? It's absolutely hypnotizing when you're under there.
We just had a question come through from Elizabeth asking how deep the water is.
So I think the divers are diving between 8 to 10 metres of water at the moment.
Just see if you can catch Dave on comms and ask him if you'll be able to have a look at his equipment.
All right.
Great, let's get Dave.
Can you hear me, Dave? We have a question coming through. How deep are you at the moment? Oh, there we go. So 9.1 metres.
Did you say 9 metres?
Yeah, 9.1. Yeah. So that fish there is a scaly fin. So these guys are very territorial. They'll actually chase any fish or shark of any size, trying to protect their little home. So they will actually be very. That would be very territorial. That would be its little home there. So that one there. Might be Magolic scaly fin, so that one there would be a male and a female. Also known as damselfishes.
So we've got a couple of questions coming through. Pam's asking what type of sharks are in the area?
We get a whole range of sharks.
But hopefully none right now.
So I think the divers are hoping not to see any sharks underwater at the moment, but you'd get anything from your whaler sharks to like you get the odd great white shark, your mako sharks. The fish we got on stream now is a banded sea sweep. And then you also get all your shovel noses and your stingrays and all that as well. So there's a huge range of sharks, but the most common sharks you get here are definitely your whaler sharks.
Beautiful. So we're looking at a limestone cave here. There's a lot of limestone in this area, which provides an important habitat for the fish.
Oh, here we go. So here's your crayfish or lobsters. So this is the western rock lobster. They look pretty decent size as well. So they're really quite tasty. I think they've also, you can see, so there's a female there and a male. So it doesn't look like it's got eggs, but they'll hold out their tail, and then on their tail they've got the little flippers that they'll aerate the eggs, keeping water and oxygen going going through them, but they seem to be quite cruisy. One's coming up to check. They've actually got really poor eyesight, so you can see they've got 2 really large antennas and then 2 smaller ones that are forked, and those 2 smaller ones is what they use to finding out what's around. They're very quite sensitive, so as you can see they're moving around trying to figure out what's in front of them, so they can, because of their poor eyesight. And you can see there it's moving around trying to touch and feel what they're sensing. So western rock lobsters can live up to 25 to 30 years of age, so they'll get quite a lot bigger than that they're seeing there. But to reach a legal size to catch, they take about 4 years. So they'll breed. Well, then, was that a fish that they just had in front? They'll breed and release all their eggs, and then they'll go into the water column and then drift out with the water into the water currents. So the fish that we've got on screen now are the juvenile western king wrasse. So as we saw the male earlier, that is the female. So those ones we got on screen, they're very quite young. They're definitely still very much in the juvenile stage, so they would not be at breeding stage there. But you can see a few of the larger ones are more pale white with just the one red stripe, and that's the typical female. Very cool to see a large group at that stage. So at that age, they'd probably be only probably under a year age, 1 year of age, and they'll start reaching maturity after a year.
We've got a question just come through. Is the diver worried, or are the divers worried about anything that can bite or sting?
I don't think they will be, otherwise they won't be in the water. Attacks and all that are very quite rare around here. You've got to be very, very unlucky. And most sharks will actually just be inquisitive. They will have a look and they'll then swim off, which is quite common. So then we've got here is the blue spotted goatfish, and then that's a western talma. So the goatfish is the one on the bottom, and then the talma is the one that's swimming upside down on the top. And then we just had on screen, and we have a cuttlefish. So this is your cephalopod. If you were listening to before, they've got chromatophores that can change colour, and they can also move their skin. So they've got like neurons that we have also in our brain throughout their skin, and they can change and take shape and be very well camouflaged. And they're also very quite smart, quite an intelligent creature. As you can see, it's definitely sussing us out. Wondering whether to be scared or afraid. So he hasn't shot up. So when they're quite afraid or he's been territorial, he'll hold 2 of his tentacles out and then 2 up in the air, kind of like he's ready to fly kickers. But at the moment he seems quite calm and just checking us out. Feels quite safe, so he hasn't gone into any colours there.
Wow, amazing. How lucky are we to be seeing this right now? I've done a lot of dives and I've only seen one cuttlefish before. Yanni is asking, what has been your most breathtaking underwater moment? I think for me it would have to be swimming with manta rays. They really are like the birds of the ocean, you know. It's like you're flying when you're swimming with manta rays. So if you ever get the opportunity to do that, that's an amazing experience. And I think for me, chasing a turtle underwater on a night dive was probably my number 2. Night dives are pretty spooky. No light. Closest thing to being in space, I think. And turtles are really slow, so it was quite a meditative experience following this turtle at this turtle pace. What about you, Kurt?
Really had to think about it. I've definitely had quite a few great experiences underwater. It's always, as Dave was mentioning earlier, that no dive is ever the same. it's always something different. Probably one of the best moments I did have was I was just free diving down on the south coast, and I had a mum and baby southern right whale come up behind me. I had no idea that they were there, and I turned around and there was two ginormous creatures directly behind me, and that was pretty awesome just to check them out and see the size of how big they actually are, which never looks the same when you're on the surface. Underwater, everything's magnified, and then being right up next to them was pretty awesome.
Dave, come in. Can you hear us? Excellent. What are the conditions like down there, mate? It's good. Looks like we've found a few nice sites for our viewers so far.
So that's the school of, well, the scientific name is Chorus acularis, but of western king wrasse. So part of the labrid family, and then there was the talma swimming around at the same time as well. I did not hear. Sorry, Dave, can you please repeat? So that wrasse there looks like a senator wrasse. So that one would look like the green wrasse that we saw was a male. It's off screen now. We've got a leather jacket here, which could be the 6-spine leather jacket. Leather jackets are one of the hardest fish to ID, I've found. Sometimes you even have to ID in between different species is look at the vertebrate inside, which obviously you can't do to a live animal, but they are absolutely awesome creatures.
Beautiful. It's quite unreal having the opportunity to dive here in these limestone outcrops. You pop your head under there and it's just a whole nother world.
Mm.
You've got another couple of questions coming through in a sec.
They're not coming up on here.
Yeah, but the people who are viewing on Mammalz, we're getting the questions sent through separately.
So that there is a female brown spotted wrasse. Now we're looking like we're going to go back into another cave.
Ali Straza says, I want to scuba in Oz someday whenever I get my certification. Yes, you should.
So that there is the scaly fin as well. There's probably 4 or 5 species of scaly fin that will that you could will find in this area. To identify between them, definitely need to be able to see a little bit more of the features that they have. And the fish swimming upside down is the western talma, and right in front of us we have the cuttlefish again. You can see how he's quickly changing colours, and see how he's put up his 2 tentacles there, so he's starting to feel a little bit distressed, but seems to be quite, because he's swimming right up. So he's quite a large one, this fella. Awesome to be able to see how he's changing colours so quickly. So they'll use their colours to either threaten or show that they're feeling alright. But I think why is everything down and coming up so close now, he's actually feeling quite safe and just seeing what's going on.
So Pam's asking, are we seeing any type of corals or just plant life? What's this colourful substrate that we're seeing here?
So you've got a lot of ascidians growing, which ascidians are like your sea squirts or growing over the rocks there. Then there's also types of algae, there's little bits of soft corals and hard corals. growing on there. So there's a lot of it's red algae, which is like the rotophyta, which is like a coralline algae, which grows over substrates like that. You also have a lot of sponges, and then we've got the main larger algae seeing there is the Eclonia radiata, which is a kelp, which you've also may have heard of kelp forests, which grow more over in the eastern states of Australia, or over elsewhere in the world as well. But this species of kelp here only grows to about 1.5.
Coral that's only found in this area, guys. So as a coral researcher, this is probably a bit of a jackpot for him for this dive. So do you mean this is native to this area in the entire world, David? Oh wow, it's like really spongy, look at that. Here I was thinking that it was hard, but wow.
We're having a bit of a claim by rats.
So how are you guys finding the stream quality? Is this good enough for us to say final test over and done with and we should start properly streaming for the new project? So as I've mentioned to you guys before, I mean, Nathan, who's under there at the moment, is our lead diver. He's a commercial diver, a saturation diver. The guys who go kilometres underwater and stay for 3 weeks in a compression chamber. And David, who's been doing most of the talking here with us, is a marine biologist, the president of the Murdoch University Divers Club. Alright, I'm going to take our picture-in-picture off so you guys can enjoy the view. Yeah, wow. It's very clear down there. There's a lot of visibility. I still think that I need... Oh, is that an eel? Yeah, it is. I still think that I need to diffuse those lights a bit more. See, it's a little bit glary still.
Oh, is this because of the light coming in?
No. I'm talking about the light from the unit. Oh wow! Actually, that wasn't an eel. That was an octopus. Okay, welcome again to the stream. We are live here underwater with a couple of our scuba diving friends. One of them is a marine biologist. Her name is Kat. She is the one operating the camera here, looking for exciting stuff to show you. The other one, Cameron, is an avid fisherman and hunter. He's the guy that you'll see on camera quite a bit with
Oh, another try.
Oh, it's a drama.
Alright, you're back now, guys. Sorry about that.
So we're back streaming underwater again.
We had a question come in from Rob Whitehair, Such an amazing stream. Can you tell us about the issues affecting ocean health that you were seeing in Western Australia? Also, apologies for the stream going offline for a second. That was actually my fault. I didn't check the batteries, and we actually lost power on the streaming equipment. But yeah, we're good now.
So issues along West Australia's coastline. There's obviously quite a few that's also happening worldwide. The main one is the water temperatures heating up. So that obviously everything that's living in this area is adapted to what the water temperature is usually, and then when it heats up to a certain extent and then stays at that temperature for a vast time, they can't handle, and they haven't been seem to be able to adapt as quick. So the biggest things that have usually been affected are either seagrasses, which are super important for our ecosystem. And then also our Eclonia radiata, which is that brown kelp you're seeing there, is also has had lots of impacts from water temperatures heating up, and that a lot of it seems to be dying off. And then there's a lot of other impacts as well, whether it's anthropogenic or climate, which is the main things. But we seem to have found a nice cave here with quite a few different species of fish. I think we've got here is a buff brim, or silver, sorry, not a buff brim, a silver drummer. So this is from the Kyphosis family, and that you can actually, there is quite a few species of these fellas that we might see. There could be up to 6 different species of fish, but they do grow quite large. What we saw on screen there was the silver drummer, which do grow to just under 1 meter long, which is a large fish. And here you start seeing some ascidians, and we've also got some of the siphons, which is mental blank. Well, I've said it just before.
Oh, nudibranch.
Oh, and a little nudibranch. Oh, look at that. So that there's like kind of like what you'd see like a sea slug. So it's like a very awesome colours. So there's so many different species of these guys, and always very brightly coloured.
That's a highlight for sure. Divers always chasing nudibranch.
Have you seen his Jasper got his camera down there? Because he's an avid photographer as well, so you might have seen one of the divers. Does he look like he's taking photos?
Yes, yeah, he's coming over now just to take a few photos.
Nice. Yeah.
Beautiful. Looks like some high corals on that limestone mount.
So that wrasse that we're seeing up there is called a black spotted wrasse. So they don't grow much larger than that. There seems to be quite a few. Maybe I can tell by looking on. There's a bit of glare on the screen right now, so it's a bit hard to see. There is the male western king wrasse, and then the other one's the male brown spotted wrasse. So we saw the female a little bit earlier, and then the male came along, which is quite large. So all labrid species start off as female, and then they'll generally have a dominant male around them, and then when the dominant male dies or disappears, it's not the largest female, it's the fastest growing female that will then turn into a male. So those there are your females of the western king wrasse. So you can see there, actually they look sexually mature when they've got that more of that whiter and then that one red stripe. Earlier we saw the juveniles, which are predominantly red with the white stripe. Oh, and there seemed to always also been a goatfish in there as well. probably the blue spotted goatfish, even though it's got a pink stripe.
So we've been lucky enough to see quite a lot of different species down there tonight, or today.
Yeah, it's been pretty awesome and diverse in the fish species, and also seeing the cuttlefish. And as you can tell, I'm not an algae expert, but there seems to be lots of different algae and sponges and all inhabiting the same area on the limestone.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mammalz, the crew at Mammalz, the community that's been watching, asking questions, and we're really proud to have been part of the Community Spotlight today. We've been given the go-ahead to go for a bit longer, so we're going to continue showing you these underwater scenes up until the divers have to come up, and then we'll have a quick chat to them before we sign off for the night to finish off your Community Spotlight stream.
So we just saw on screen the silver drummer, and he's back there again. So those guys usually can swim in large schools, so where you see one, you'll most likely see a few more. This guy seems to be swimming a bit lonesome at the moment, and he's quite a large fella. So you can also see how I was sort of talking earlier about counter shading within fish. So you can tell that the top half of the silver drummer there is a darker colour to his bottom half, which seems to be a lot lighter silver, and that's so he can blend in from either bottom or top predators when they're looking or hunting. Certain fish species prefer types of habitats as well, so being that we're on a reef, we're going to see a lot more reef species, but there's a lot of species that live in different parts of the water column, or different types of habitats. So either you got your seagrass or your just sand. Here we've got this, that's a scaly fin or damselfin fish, also known as also could be a palmer. And then in the back, I think we may have seen a herringtail. Although it's gone off screen now, so I can't confirm.
I just heard, guys, that the fundraising goal for Cool Earth was smashed in Damien Explores stream prior to us, which was awesome to see. They were hoping to raise $1,000 and they got to 1,130 so far. That goal is still open, guys, so if you are willing and able to help support such a good cause, you've got a link that you can check out just below in the Mammalz stream. If you want to check out the Mammalz stream, it's Mammalz with a Z, MAMMALZ.com, and you'll be able to see the stream also on there, as well as our usual socials. We're going to put our socials in stream at the moment, so you can also get that info as well. Please like, subscribe, etc. And I'll give you back to Kurt.
And we have a sea fan. Oh, not a sea fan, sorry. Like a type of polychaete or worm. I'm pretty sure that the yellow thing flying around or something there. So it's those fronds there is what it uses to catch food that's flowing through the water, and then it lives in its like a calcareous tube. If it was disturbed, it will quickly suck back up to hide, although it looks like it was enjoying the currents that are around there and hopefully getting a nice feed. So it seems to be quite a large school of the western king wrasse swimming around on the reef, and that fish there that's yellow with the stripes is called a footballer sweep. So they are also usually swimming in large schools, although that one seems to be enjoying a swim by itself.
We've had a question come through from SMF01998. How often do you do these underwater streams? Well, CETO's still in its infancy. I believe this is the 4th stream that we've done live.
So Jason seems to have a fairly large team of people to help out. As we were just saying, that it's the start of CETO, so he's getting the ball rolling, and then we're coming along to volunteer and help out. I think what he's doing is sharing this amazing bit of coastline, and people that will be able to go diving with everyone's pretty important. To be able to do this and see this and hopefully ignite a lot of passion for people to want to learn or protect these awesome environments.
Got a comment coming through from Pam Buck. I love all of the tiny creatures you are showing us. Yes, we're pretty blessed to be able to see this and to share it with you all. Jason, have you got some more streams planned coming up?
Yeah, for sure. We're going to be trying to do as many CETO streams as possible. Hopefully we can get down to maybe 1 a week. Just obviously weather dependent, because we want to pick the really good days to be able to head out, because it's easier on the divers and we get to see more. But by all means, please follow the socials and keep in touch, and we'll let you know when we're heading out.
I think here's was a bit of a good example of the scaly fins not enjoying other fish getting into their areas. You can see they were protecting their little home, chasing off the 2 wrasse.
Oh, the
So that there is the male brown spotted wrasse. We saw a female swimming around earlier. And here we've got a gold spotted sweet lip.
We just had a donation come through for Cool Earth from Ali Strauss. Thank you very much for that.
That's fantastic.
Okay, Dave, come in.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Good.
Just wanted to see how much time have you guys got left down there? I'm asking you how much time you've got left. I missed that. Repeat, please. Must be just out of range then.
We've had a question come through from Janet. Have you had any scary or close calls while diving? Kurt, have you got any stories to share?
Yeah, I've got a few. I have had quite a few experiences with sharks. Not so much. I've only had one, which is we call a wobbegong here, actually bite me. I had a wobbegong biting my leg. I've had a wobbegong had to go up my chest, but they've got small mouths, so they don't actually reach around and get anything, which is pretty lucky. I've had sharks steal fish off me a fair bit. I do rely on a shark shield. I've had a whaler shark try and steal a fish off me, but the shark shield worked gratefully. I've also had the mild terms of the bends before, which was never a good thing. That was a silly mistake of myself doing some things, so definitely take precaution and listen to what you learn when you do your dive course, and then I'm sure you'll be fine. And I've also lost the boat through an anchor and then had to swim to shore. So I've had quite a few few things that have happened while scuba diving before, but definitely take precautions and don't think that yourself is invincible under there, because it is quite a wild world. But generally you can always be...
Is that a shark shield there? Shark shield's a long wire that hangs off the back of your fin. Is it?
Yeah, there's a few different types of shark shields, but the one that I'm talking about is like a long wire, because sharks have very sensitive noses, which is part of what they have on in their nose is called ampulla lorenzi, which is like fluid-filled sacs where they can pick up pulses in the water, and then because they're so sensitive that a shark shield sends out electric pulses, usually every 0.7 seconds, and when a shark gets into a certain distance of that it is being with their sensitive nose, that it's too strong and they will actually be repelled away, which could also bring them in to a certain extent, feeling that. So if they're a long way away, they would sense that, as you know that sharks can smell or feel things from a long distance away, but then when they get to a certain distance, it's too strong for them and they will not harm you.
All right, Dave, are you guys heading back to the surface? Roger that. We'll start pulling that cable in.
Sabrina's asked a question: are those fish on a meeting on a rock? I think you might be talking about the scaly fin, and I suppose they are kind of in a meeting. So usually it'll be like a male and a female, and they'll be protecting their little home, where they've got a nice little grazing patch, where they seem to farm for food, or I've also seen them fertilise areas where a female will be shivering and the male will be swimming behind, fertilising her eggs. Unless you're talking about the big school, which was the school of Western Kingwrasse, and they just stay in safety in numbers, and they'll be just swimming around happily as day, probably eating or just going about their day.
Did we see a pencil urchin before? There was an urchin when you were telling your shark story. Sometimes you can find the little spines of the urchins in the sand, and you can actually write with them. I guess that's how they get the name.
There you go. I did not know that. That's cool.
Our diver's coming up for a safety stop now.
So they're returning back to the boat?
I believe so. What a dive! I haven't been in the water myself for a little while, and that was just absolutely unreal. I really felt like I was there on the dive with these divers. Bubbles.
Alright, you can't see much now, right? Because they're on their way back up?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the divers are just ascending now.
Yep. If you've got any other questions, feel free to ask now. The diver's coming up, so we're going to switch back to our hosts, and going to do it to this camera so that it can take you outside. Alright, we should be back, I believe. Cool, do you want to come out and...
Okay, let's meet the divers on the deck.
Kurt, I'll let you take the camera, take the reins. Yep.
Oh wow, conditions are pretty good out here now. The smog's lifting. We've had a bit of bushfire today that's brought some smog across.
So the question came through from Sneaky Che and Jespen both said hi. And Sneaky Che asks, what happens if a shark comes?
I think the safest thing is probably just to stay there, hold your ground. Sharks can sense fear. They can definitely probably sense your heart rate as well. So if you start acting erratic, they'll probably start acting erratic.
How can you control that?
A shark, they're never going to, if they're acting erratic, they generally are in a hunting feeding mode, so probably the best idea would be to probably stay close to the ground if you've got enough air, because they're not going to...
And if the two people stay closer together.
Yeah, if they stay close together as well is also another thing. But if you're going to try to swing away and all that, they probably would start chasing you. So, and just I guess just be calm and then just take in the moment of swimming with the shark.
Yeah.
So we're going to be able to capture the guys popping up from the dive shortly as well. I think we've got bubbles coming out this side, so...
We had a question come through from Pam. What kind of sea urchins did we see? Well, I saw a pencil urchin. What urchins did you see?
Not very good at my urchin identification. I'm more fish.
And I only know the common name, so we'll stick with pencil urchins. Thanks, Pam. Sneaky Trey and Justine say hello. Hello. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, always good when you can see bubbles.
That's the right number.
Always count.
Rob's our skipper. He's keeping us safe today.
So you can probably explain the reason why they hang down there at 5 meters for a little while, guys.
So this is called a decompression stop. Go with the dive instructor. I'll give you one. What's going on?
Yeah, it's good. We need to do a safety stop on most dives in order to make sure that... We just lost the camera there.
Yeah, I got it.
In order to make sure that we're not going to suffer any so Kurt shared earlier that he had a slight case of the bends, and that would be the colloquial term for decompression. Want to get. So in scuba diving, it's really important to make sure that your ascent is slow, no faster than your smallest bubble.
Yep.
And so they're just having a really slow ascent now, and they're taking a little bit of a break as they ascend at 5 meters to decompress, to let some of that nitrogen go through the system. And here we are, we've got surface. Hello! Hi.
Hey guys, welcome back. Alright, we'll bring our camera over this way.
He's still in there. What's he doing?
He might be checking the anchor.
I think it's going under him.
Oh, okay.
Then swim over it.
Coming around to the ladder, guys. Oh. Well done. We got there in the end. Give my hand over that side. Alright. Okay, we might need you to pop out, or I'll give you a hand next time.
moly.
So it's quite uncomfortable being a scuba diver out of the water. So they were experiencing weightlessness underwater, which they have now lost. Feeling like they weigh 100 kilos. How's the dive?
Whew.
Thanks for taking us with you. It was an incredible dive.
Well, it was a good dive. Less smoky than it was up here. But there was some good fish in there.
Yeah, seems to be quite a few fish swimming around.
Yeah.
Quite diverse.
There was a
Sweet.
yeah.
Yep. I got some cool shots of you shooting the cuttlefish.
Oh yeah, cool.
Could you see me underneath the ledge on the other side?
Not really. I had the camera under there.
Well, I
Or,
had a really cool view of you videotaping.
oh right.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
So I got videos of you videoing as well.
Very good.
Let's see. See?
Wow, that's clear.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It's like
Sorry.
I was from this other
Sorry
side
guys,
of the cave.
we're reviewing our reviewing.
I know. I got a bunch. It's just a really cool shot.
Yeah, it is.
And then I got
All right, I can take on that one if you like.
Georgia.
He was so cool. He was coming in and out. He was trying to be a fish.
Yeah.
The last time we were out,
Yeah.
he was swimming along and he was like looking like reef and looking like kelp. And he had like little nodes and little ruffles all over him.
I love when they change their texture as well as their color.
Yes, this one.
Super cool. And he seemed really curious too, that one.
Yeah. You know, cuttlefish remember.
They do?
Yeah.
No, all good. All right, Janet, so thanks for the trip down under. That's all right, we've been really happy. We've got a couple of questions for the divers. I know you guys are starting to get ready in that.
We're trying to get what?
Erica here.
Hi.
We've got Dave over here. We've got Jasper just getting his BCD off there.
Thank you.
Thanks for the dive down under. And
That's the G-force.
Yeah,
And
down
then we
under for
said generator
sure.
too.
And the other question was, for the divers, what was your favourite part of the dive today? Let's ask Erica to start
the
with.
cuttlefish, of course.
Cuttlefish, of course, yeah. Nice.
Definitely the cuttlefish.
Yeah.
And we had a big, what was it? Was it a brim? What? Where's our...
What's it, buff cream?
The big black and white one. What was it called? The big, it was really good, real big size. But yeah, the cuttlefish is always a star of the show.
Yep, nice.
So yeah.
And how about you, Jasper?
I missed the cuttlefish.
He
But-
was right down under the loo.
That's a really nice swim throughs.
Yep.
Lots
Yeah,
of
true.
good ledges and
Yeah.
limestone caves are pretty cool.
Excellent. And you had your camera down there, your really expensive camera. How many, did
I
you get
wouldn't
some
say a
good
really
shots?
expensive camera. No, the light was very challenging.
Was it? Okay.
And the aperture's just not big enough, so I don't think many of them come out very well, actually.
Right, oh well. Can always hope.
No, it wasn't the best day to leave the strobes at home.
Yeah, fair enough. Excellent. Are there any big changes that we've noticed over the years? If you've been diving in Perth for a long time, environmental changes in species, populations, whatever. I'm not sure who the right person to ask this one would be,
But it is a very good question.
I think he's inside. Kurt would be the man to
Yeah.
ask for that.
What about you, Dave? You've been diving off these waters for quite a long time. Have
Yeah.
you noticed any changes yourself?
Just less of the bigger pelagic stuff, like less of the big fish. I don't know if it's overfishing or it's the wrong time of the season, but I was really happy to see a big silver and black fish under there, because they're sort of like target fish for scuba divers and for spear fishermen and that sort of stuff. So it's good to see a big healthy one down there, but he looked like he had a good hiding spot, so maybe that's why he's big and fat and happy. But in that little ledge there, in that little limestone cave, is one of my favourites, because the dive previous to that, you couldn't move for fish under there. Like there was probably about 10% of what we saw last time, which was down there now. And there was a few down there now, but last time we were down there, there would have been literally 90% more fish and more activity down there. Obviously there was more light as well, but it is honestly one of my favourite little spots there, because that place at the right time and the right conditions is alive. It's like literally swimming in an aquarium. The fish can't get away from you, so but they hang around in there, and it's a really cool little spot. But there are spots like that all over the coast here. Just got to know where to go.
Alright, well guys, our divers are going to be getting pretty cold right now. So we've got to
One of them more than others.
let them start to get themselves sorted.
Yeah.
Looks like we're out of questions. I'd like to say thank you very much to divers for coming out and volunteering your time today to join us and bring such amazing sights to everyone from under the water.
Thank you, Joyce.
Arnika, thank you for joining us. First time CETO member. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
And we'll go in and say bye to Kurt, wherever he is. Oh, he's in the bathroom. Sorry, Kurt. All right, we're just saying a quick bye to you, mate, before we sign off and head back to Mammalz. Thanks very much for your informative insights.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And yeah, it was really good.
I would like to say though, if anyone wants to check out the science page or a podcast, I have a podcast called Paramount Importance. We should be streaming on any platform, and then if you want to keep up to date with what I've been researching, we've got Instagram and Facebook as well. So
awesome. Repeat it again.
Paramount Importance.
Paramount Importance. Excellent. Thanks very much for that. And always great having you here, mate.
Thank you.
The fish encyclopedia, we like to nickname you. But we'll catch you later. Thanks very much again to Mammalz and the crew, and we look forward to catching you next time.